What's going on, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls? Welcome back to the Team Gullit YouTube channel. My name is Renzo, and today we've got a video for you which is going to conclude every top 5 formation that we feel is quite good right now after the patch in FIFA 22, because the patch did change a lot in terms of game speed, how your team should be looking and stuff like that. So we're just going to feature all of those custom tactics that we feel like are the best right now, and even all of our pro players are using right now. But like always, you just want to sit back, relax, and enjoy. Alright, starting off with the team. How should it look like? Well, not exactly like this, but in terms of the amount of attackers and midfielders, you should be looking at a squad that you're seeing on your screen right now. So you want to have at least 4 defenders for these custom tactics. You want to have 2 midfielders, 1 defensive minded. In this case, Fellaini is for me. I've explained this in previous videos. These are players that I need to use in order to practice for my league. And KDB as the offensive midfielder, Team of the Year version in this case, and 4 attacking-minded players, wingers especially, that are just lightning fast and could also play, for example, a central attacking midfield position or even a striker. And you want to have at least one set-out striker, in this case Jonathan David. Some players with like 5-star weak foot, you want to be looking at those kind of players, and great finishing obviously. Also a bit physical would be nice. But yeah, what is going to be the best tactics available right now? Well, first of all, we're going to be looking at the 4-4-2, which is still a very strong formation, but this can also be considered the 4-4-2 second variation or the 4-2-2. I will explain the differences between those. But for 4-4-2, you want to be looking at the width, the defensive width, and defensive style and balance, by the way, defensive width between 35 or 45. And that is something that we notice because in terms of the 4-4-2, you usually are vulnerable against people that counter you with narrow formations. So you want to have your defensive line set as tight as possible. And you usually don't really suffer against players that play a wide formation because of your right and left mid that are actually already positioned pretty wide. The depth on 70, this is something that has been in FIFA 22 recently after the patch. It really works well as well. There's not the automatic offside traps, but the defensive line just seems to be in that great spot. If you don't like it, you just want to put it to like 40 up to at least 40 till like 60. Build up play balance, chance creation balance, and we've been advertising a lot of these direct passing tactics right now, but because of the driven pass adjustment that it really is a lot more inconsistent now, we don't really advise you to use it in a 4-4-2. But in a 4-2-2, that actually could work, but I'll explain that when we get to that. Players in box 4 to 6, it's up to you, personal preference. If you like that Fellaini, for example, is going to enter the box as well, you could do that. But if you don't like your central defensive midfielder to push up, then don't. Or your central midfielders, I should say. Corners 2 or 1, free kicks 2 or 1. It's up to you. Really, it doesn't make that much of a difference, but just in matter of counter-attacking. Your team should look like this in case of having your set out strikers, your wingers, and like I said, you just want to have the defensive and attacking minded midfielder. Pretty much self-explanatory, but yeah, the instructions is what this makes the 4-4-2 just really good, because the get in behind on the striker is going to give you always this kind of space that you can counter attack quickly in the 4-4-2. But if you feel like you want to use the 4-4-2 more just as a bit of build up, trying to play short passing style, or just at least building up with possession, and not want to go lightning fast forward, then you just want to put them on mixed. Try it out yourself. It's also always the tactics depend a bit on your own playstyle. Come back on defense on the wingers, and we don't put any further instructions on. Some people might do get in behind on the support runs on the wingers, but I do not recommend that personally. Stay back while attacking on the central midfielders. That's just something that is important because they're already pushed up pretty high on the pitch. Even the attacking minded midfielder will be in position for long shots, for example, still when on stay back while attacking. Cover center. Fullbacks, stay back while attacking, and overlap. You can put this on mixed. Overlap is just something that we feel like we explained before. It's just when Mertens and Bamba, for example, in this case, the left and right mid, are coming back on defense, sometimes they just switch position with these fullbacks. And yeah, Atal and Cancelo are good enough to go forward as well. So, 4-4-2, but then you have the 4-2-2, and this is something that is quite similar to to the 4-4-2, but you can play quicker in a 4-2-2. That's what we experience in all of our players as well. They pretty much have the same tactics: 40 width, depth 70, balanced defensive style, balanced build-up play, but direct passing is actually something that works better in 4-2-2. Width on offensive width on 55, players in box 4 to 6, corners, well, it's pretty much the same, and this is how the team would shape up. And why is direct passing actually good? Well, it's the structure of the team. The right and left attacking midfielder that you have in 4-2-2 just offer you a bit more of this tiki-taka play, and direct passing supports the tiki-taka play, where you can just constantly pass, take a touch, pass it on, take a touch, pass it on, instead of these kind of longer build-up that you have to do with balanced. So what kind of instructions would you put on that? In this case, we'd have two strikers. The Hazard is a bit more agile, so we have him getting behind, and David is more of a target man, so we have him on mixed. You could use target man instruction, but yeah, mixed should do well as well, because sometimes it's still nice to have, for example, if the opportunity arises, having that other striker make a run as well, and that's what happens if you're keeping these instructions on mixed. Getting behind on the other striker, come back on defense on both the strikers. That's something that you could do in 4-4-2 as well. And on the right and the left attacking midfielders, you want to do come back on defense as well. Get into the box for cross, and this will it will show you that there's constantly runs being made forward, and you can actually play pretty quick in this formation. So if that's more of your play style and you want to have two strikers and still feel kind of solid in the midfield, then this is a very good formation for you. Also, stay back while attacking and cover center on both CDMs, as well as stay back while attacking and overlap on the fullbacks. And especially overlap is good here because, as you can see how the team is shaped up, like there is still space for Cancelo and Atal to kind of support Bamba and Mertens on this wing play if you, for example, make 1-2 passes and combinations between those. Moving on, if you're weird to play in a more conservative build-up style and you like to just keep a bit more possession and work your way through, you want to use the 4-2-3-1. This is something that is very popular for years right now, especially in the competitive cycle. And the tactics for that, the defensive style, as you can see, doesn't really change a lot. Like I said, you can do this to 40 to 50 or 35 to 45, even up to 50, and the depth as well. It's pretty much the same as the 4-4-2. It will be the same for almost every other formation that people use in the competitive circuit. But build-up play and chance creation, again, is going to be just unbalanced. The offensive width is something, though, that is quite something that you have to experience yourself, because some players actually like to have a really narrow 4-2-3-1. So like a 30 width, for example, offensive tactic, and this will allow you to probably make more of these passing combinations. But if you like the wing play and, for example, play a lot with the fullbacks, trying to send the right and left attacking midfielder through, you want to play at like 70 depth. And this is also going to offer you more space with that one striker and the cam between the center backs, because the opposition's defensive line will be forced to be more spread out, because your right and left attacking midfielder are actually more down the wing. So that's up to personal preference. Personally, most of our players use it on 40 up to 60 max, but Levy, for example, uses 70, and I use 70 as well. Players in box going to be at least 5 up to 7, even 8, because 4-2-3-1 is something that you want to have the players make these supporting runs. So you want to have sometimes your midfielders on the edge of the box to help you create space, because you only have in the center of the pitch, you only have these two, even one striker and one cam, that can actually be tough sometimes to break down the opposition's defense. Anyway, this is how the team would shape up. Like I said, if you have different players, it's always going to be a bit tricky who you're putting on the wing exactly or at striker, but you guys can figure that out yourself probably. The instructions: drift wide, getting behind on the striker, something that has returned and has become popular again. You don't want to put comeback on defense on the striker, because that will just leave you too defensive minded, and then it's hard to build up when you get the counter attack or when you retrieve the ball of your opponent. Basic defense support on the cam. You could do comeback on defense, but it's something that I'd like just to have on basic, because like I said, you want to have that counter-attacking possibility still. Free roam is something that's important though on the cam. I feel like if you put free roam, he's always going to be your actual number 10 that's always open to play the pass into and then move on with your attack. Bamba and Hazard, the right and left attacking midfielder, are going to be on get into the box for cross and come back on defense, actually, because you do want them to support the team a bit more defensively. Stay back while attacking, cover center for the central defensive midfielders, and stay back while attacking. No overlap on the fullbacks, because it's not really the way of play that you would want your 4-2-3-1 to be playing out to. You usually want your fullbacks in a 4-2-3-1 to be actually supporting the right and left attacking midfielder with passes. You don't really want them to be overlapping or anything like that. So the last kind of formation is the 4-3-1-2, and this is similar to the 4-3-2-1 that we've posted earlier, so that's why I'm covering the top 5 formations. But quickly, just telling you the basic of the 4-3-1-2: balanced, 45 width, 42, maybe even 55, because this is because of the 3 central midfielders that you have. You can do this up to 60 maybe. The depth, like I said, doesn't change much. Build up play, balanced, direct passing. Like I said, this works for the formations that just have a more narrow approach, just like the 4-2-2, for example. The width you can keep on 30, and why is that? You want to literally just try to go through the middle with this formation, because you don't have any support on the wing, unless you are using balanced fullbacks or overlapping fullbacks. But usually you just want to go with as narrow as possible. And like you can see, it changes if you put it on 30, and this is just going to allow you to have short passing options if you put it on 30. Players in box on 6 or even 4. It just depends a little bit on how confident you're feeling with this formation. If you put it on 6, you're just going to overload the box, and your opponent is going to struggle to defend you. But if you're not feeling that comfortable yet, then just start off with 4. Like I said, this is how the team shapes up for me, because right now you have 4 attackers, so you have to play 1 attacker on a right or left central midfielder option. And that is something that you could adjust your team to if you like this formation. But in my case, I'm putting Bamba as my right center mid, because he's probably the one that's the best defensively, and he's also quick. You have to look at like body type, stuff like that. Instructions: getting behind on the strikers, stay forward on the cam. You could also go with comeback on defense, but for stay forward, the triangle that's up front will always be open up for a counter-attacking possibility, and it's really dangerous because it's always a 3-on-2 situation. But if you're struggling defensively, you can put it on comeback on defense, and then the defense will almost shape up like a 4-4-2. Try it out, you'll see what I mean with that. Stay back while attacking on the central midfielder, and balanced on and cover wing on the right and left center mid. And you need that cover wing. You could go with stay back while attacking, like I said, if you feel like you're getting exposed defensively. But you need that cover wing, because else there's just no one going to be attacking any of these right or left midfielders unless you need to step out with your fullbacks. Fullbacks on stay back while attacking. You could go with overlap But you also, like I said, could go with balanced if you're feeling really confident, or you're using this formation more as kind of a comeback formation. And this is pretty much the same deal for the 4-3-2-1. And last but not least is the 4-3-2-1, and this is something that I've covered in multiple videos right now. This is the one that I'm using right now. You can literally check out our YouTube channel for, I think, 3 or 4 different variations of it. They all still work. Balanced, 40, 65, or even 70, because I personally don't really like 70 depth. Balanced direct passing with on 40, up to maybe 60 offensively. Depends on how your opponent's defensive line is shaped up, and you feel like what you are able to expose. If they're using a really narrow defensive line, you want to put your own offensive width a bit up, and if they're using a really wide defensive line, you want to put it back to like 40. Players in box, 5. Formation, like I said, or how the team shapes up. This is, again, in this case, I have Hazard there, but it should be Bomba. I think I switched it up before the video. And the instructions is going to be stay central for the central forward, because I think, or the striker I should say, and the right and left forward are just going to be on getting behind. Like I said, there's multiple variations. You could also go with stay central on them both, and also on comeback on defense on all these players, depending on your own personal preference. Stay back while attacking, cover center for the central midfielder, and like I said, right and left center mid, similar to the 4-3-1-2, balanced and cover wing. But if you're feeling defensively exposed, you put it on stay back while attacking. Also, the fullbacks just on stay back. Unless you're using this as a comeback formation, you're going to put them on balanced or even overlap. All right, that was it. Long video covering all of the formations that are probably the best ones right now in FIFA 22. This is something that you will see across any pro players FIFA streams, competitive games, stuff like that. So hope you guys enjoy this. Look for yourself which one works best for you. I'll see you guys in the next video. Ciao, ciao.